The pick is in.
With the number 64 pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Andrew Mukuba, safety from Texas, presented by LinkedIn. Breaking it down with me is Louis DiBiase, the host of Locked On Eagles. And Louis, the Eagles, they take Jihad Campbell in round one. They continue to bolster their defense here with Andrew Mukuba out of Texas. Where does he fit in the secondary, a secondary that has lost a couple pieces this offseason?
Yeah, I think he perfectly replaces Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as he was traded to the Houston Texans this offseason, and he's probably your starting safety next to Reed Blankenship. And it's funny, Mukuba, I actually said, was very similar to C.J. Gardner-Johnson this offseason. When you look at the tape, the way his ball hawk ability generated 5 interceptions this year, which led the SEC in picks. When you look at the range and the speed, very similar build, wingspan, height and weight-wise. I think the Eagles like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson a lot, but didn't want to give him the raise that he was looking for, so they get a cheaper version of him and Mukuba coming out of Texas. I really like the move. I had other safeties I would have liked better, but I'm just glad they went with that position.
How does this secondary now with Mukuba in it and the other subtractions, additions that the Eagles have had this offseason, how does it stack up with what their secondary was last season on that Super Bowl winning squad?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just thinking about that before hopping on. I think Darius Slay and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson were instrumental in that Super Bowl win. Mukuba and Keely Ringo, who's probably going to start opposite Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean heading into year 2 at corner to replace Slay, I think they have a higher ceiling. I mean, Slay was coming down, I think, from, a really good career. I think a really good run. He was still okay last year, but came on and off the field with injuries, and Chauncey was a great player, but Mukuba, I think, has that kind of ceiling. So I think there will be some growing pains in year 1, but overall, the long-term approach, I think they're in much better shape than they actually were in 2024.
Do you think offense is up next for Philadelphia? Where do you think they go now they've added a couple of key defensive pieces?
I think it has to be an offensive lineman. 2 years in a row where they don't take an offensive lineman in the first 3 rounds would not be like Howie Roseman. I think they want to add depth and competition to that starting right guard battle. Maybe a versatile piece that could eventually replace Lane Johnson at right tackle. I would predict, and they're up soon, I think they're going to go with offensive line.
For continuing coverage of the Philadelphia Eagles, subscribe to Locked On Eagles wherever you get your podcast. And for more, Andrew Mukuba, let's hear from Locked On Longhorns, who spent a lot of time covering Andrew Mukuba up close.
Andrew Mukuba is one of the most underrated players in this draft. What's up, guys? BK Brad Kellner from Locked On Longhorns here with a quick draft profile on Texas safety Andrew Mukuba, a do-it-all defensive back who just has a knack for making winning plays. We saw it for 3 years at Clemson and then again at Texas in 2024. Andrew Mukuba just knows the game of football. His instincts are incredible. His IQ is ridiculous. His character is next level. His motor is unmatched. And it just feels like when the stakes get higher, his play gets better. Mukuba was tied for 4th in the country last year with 5 interceptions. If they had a stat for hard hits, felt like he would have been tied for 4th in the country in that too. He's a bit undersized, but he has the skill set and the mentality to be a really, really good player at the next level. Don't sleep on Andrew Mukuba. There are going to be a lot of teams that regret passing on this dude. For more on the Texas Longhorns, subscribe to Locked On Longhorns on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.